So you're trying to come to Lynchburg, Virginia, and someone says, hey, you should check out Forest. And maybe they're right. Maybe you should go check out Forest. Or maybe they're completely wrong and your life and your budget and your commute and many other things doesn't make sense for Forest. And you looked in the completely wrong place. You see, that's kind of the tricky part about Forest and Lynchburg, because on a map, it looks like they're the same place, but you can be in Boonesboro and drive, 3 minutes west and suddenly you're in Bedford County, but it doesn't feel like you crossed some giant line. There's no dramatic movie scene that happens when you hit Bedford County or Forest and someone's like, here you go, here's your new tax bill. No, but there is an invisible line that matters because it changes things. So in this video, I want to walk you through how I would compare Forest and Lynchburg with somebody who's trying to figure out, hey, we don't know this area. We don't want to pick the wrong one. So first, let's talk about basic differences. So Lynchburg is an independent city. Forest is not a city. Forest is unincorporated and it's in Bedford County. And it sits right up against Lynchburg's western side. A lot of people, when they casually say Lynchburg, honestly, they mean Lynchburg and Forest and like all the adjacent smaller towns that kind of make up Lynchburg. But when you buy a house, the casual language doesn't matter. Jurisdiction matters, taxes matter, schools matter, services matter, commute route, all this matters. And honestly, that's where people kind of get surprised. They just don't realize that that's how it is when they come from out of town. If you're looking in Lynchburg City, they're going to be having city taxes, city services, Lynchburg City schools, and a much wider mix of housing styles. You have older homes, you have maybe some walkability pockets. There's just absolutely so many ranch style houses, it's crazy. But you're going to have a little more character when you come into Lynchburg City. And of course, you're going to have some conveniences. Lynchburg City is where all the shopping, the restaurants, and the main stuff lives because it is the city. And in Forest, you're probably going to be looking at Bedford County taxes, Bedford County schools, more subdivision style of living, definitely newer homes, bigger ones, garages, more little bit of spread out daily living, but it's a little bit comparable. And you're probably a little bit more of a drive from the conveniences of Lynchburg, but not too much. Now, neither Lynchburg nor Forest is automatically better. They're just like different tools for different jobs. So let's talk schools carefully, because this is often where people try to turn like real estate videos into like a punching match between schools. As a realtor, I can't tell you this school is good, this school is bad, so go live here. Because quite frankly, that's not how it works and that's not how I could best advise people. But what I can do is point you toward objective sources like Virginia Department of Education, the Great Schools website. But quite frankly, the best thing you do, and I say this in every video, just go talk to the people in the school system, because that's going to tell you how the school system is run versus just what a test score says. I will say that a lot of people do research Forest school systems because on paper they do look better, but I don't think this means that you should completely discount Lynchburg schools by default. I'd say the school system is probably the reason that Forest tends to get a little more attention. But please, my implorement to you is don't make your entire decision based on what it says online, because that is not even half the story. Yes, ratings might give you a good starting point, but it's not a personality test. And here's the truth, because there is an environment in the Lynchburg area here of almost an undertone of community and kindness, just about every school that you're going to go to is going to be solid. And of course, if none of those catch your fancy, there's plenty of homeschool and co-op programs around here. You can go and check out the video I made about that, about the school systems. Now, let's talk about housing. So Lynchburg City is going to give you variety, everything from hybrid communities built in the early 2000s, like Cornerstone or Windhurst, to new townhomes, new builds, communities, or you can even go historic if you want to go Boonesboro, Rivermont with like the Victorian styles, or quite frankly, the overwhelming majority of neighborhoods here are the 1960s to 1980s ranch style houses. They are literally everywhere. I live in one of them. Lynchburg gives you character and convenience, and it's an awesome thing. I actually live in Lynchburg City. But you just got to realize that older homes are nice, but they're still older homes. There are newer homes, but they're going to be at the higher price point, of course, because you're in the city. So with these older homes, just be vigilant about the inspection and checking on the things, especially drainage and basements. The majority of these ranch style houses, they weren't really thinking about future proofing the leakiness of their basements. So just a consideration, it does rain here a good bit. Now, Forest is going to give you more options for newer subdivisions. The majority of Forest was built like after the 2000s. And especially more in recent years, they've started building more there. You're gonna have newer subdivisions, larger floor plans, garages, modern layouts, communities like Ivy Hill, Farmington, the Cottontown Corridor, New London, and there's all kinds of other pockets. You're gonna find the newer housing stock and that kind of suburban feel here. The downside is, yeah, maybe you drive a little bit more if you work in Lynchburg, but 10 minutes probably isn't that substantial because there's not that much traffic here. Now, because of the desirability of Forest, the prices are going to be significantly higher. And the competition is going to be a little bit steeper for those lower price point things. Like anything under 400 is likely going to be reasonably competitive in Forest. But it really is a per situation. So let's just talk through what makes sense for you. Now let's talk about taxes. Honestly, I can break it down pretty simply. Lynchburg city taxes are going to be higher, probably near double what Bedford County taxes are. Now you can have a Lynchburg city address and still be in Bedford County, but there's kind of a small window of that. But the truth is, specifically between Forest and Lynchburg, the tax trade-off is not what's going to concern you most because the tax rate is still relatively low by comparison of some other larger cities. But the Forest pricing is probably going to slightly offset just the taxes. But of course, ask what you're getting outside of just taxes. So city services, maybe it's trash, maybe it's road maintenance, maybe it's emergency response patterns, proximity to the amenities, right? These are things that just the tax rate is not going to really tell you because a tax rate is just a number. It doesn't talk about the conveniences. Yeah, a lower tax bill is great, but if it adds an extra 15 to 20 minutes to your commute every day, well then that's not free. That's just now transferring your tax payment into gas money. The truth is, how you live on the daily is what matters the most. If you want quick access and convenience and you don't mind older homes or you do like the more variety and character, then Lynchburg's probably going to be your speed. But if maybe you want quieter, maybe you like the more suburban modern setup, you like newer construction, maybe you just need a tad bit more space and you got a bigger price tag and you're okay with driving an extra 5 to 10 minutes to Kroger or Walmart, then Forest might actually fit you better. And if you're still unsure, which you probably should be because you maybe have never been here yet, maybe here's some litmus tests. So before you go choosing Forest or Lynchburg, start mapping out your real life. So where are you going to work? Where will you maybe go to church? Where do your kids go to school? Where's the grocery store? Where's the gym? Where are you going to hang out on Friday nights? Do you want a sidewalk? Do you want a yard? Do you want new construction? Or do you want the older house and you like the character and you're okay with maintaining it? Then actually go to those places. Your intuition is probably going to tell you more than just all of these generalized facts because every house is different, every neighborhood is different, every street is different. So the mistake is asking, oh, is Forest better or is Lynchburg better? Because there's too many nuances here. The better question is, which one fits my budget, my commute, my home lifestyle, my school research, my tax comfort, and my day-to-day life? So if you're trying to figure that out, you can call or text me. You can click the link below in the description. You can contact me through there. That way, we don't just waste time before we get here, searching and doing random stuff when we can actually target it more towards what you actually need. So there you go. Forest versus Lynchburg, maybe not the cage match you were looking for. One is not better or worse. They are just different. And different is what matters when you're going to be the one making many, many mortgage payments. So if that is you and you're trying to discover that for yourself, then I guess we'll talk again soon.